Alright, so the first thing you need to do when you want to start working with Filmora 12 is to come to your gallery. Once you download and install the software, you can come to your gallery over here and you can just search Filmora and you can see it over here. Filmora 12, you just click to open. So once you open your Filmora, this is the platform that you will be welcomed with. You have the option to create a project and you can work on the cloud once you have the subscription needed. Okay, so you can just create an account and you can log in to work on it directly. Now down here you have the option to make instant video if you want, and then you can do screen recording if you want to record your screen, and then you can do auto reframe and then instant cutter. You can launch all of this and work with them directly, and then you can come also and see many more features that Filmora or Wondershare provides. For example, the stylizer and the auto beat synchronization. You can do all this with this very simple software. Now, if you've worked on a project before and you've saved it somewhere, you can also come over here and click on open project, and you'll be able to open your project and continue with from where you stopped. Additionally, if you want to change the aspect ratio of your video editing or your platform that you want to start, you can just come over here, click on this drop down, and you have the option to do different kind of preset settings, like the 1:1 for Instagram, 9:16, which is the portrait, or 4:3, which is the standard. And then you have other features like the vertical and the cinema size as well. Okay, so you have the option to customize to check on any of the sizing. But for now, for this project, for this course, for this tutorial, we are going to start a fresh project so I can show you how to use Filmora 12 from scratch on your PC. So to kickstart, all you need to do, come over here and say new project. You can just click on it and you will be welcomed with this very big screen. The very first thing you need to do is to understand the general overview of the platform. What are the key features? What are the key components that you should pay attention to while working on Filmora 12? Okay, so the first tab you see here is the media, my media tab, okay, which is where you have all your media. If you have direct media, you can bring in media from your computer, from any external device that you have, or if you have it saved on the cloud, you can as well access them directly from here. So you can import, you have global media, you can have cloud media, and then you can have adjustment layer and all these features as well. Down here you have the option to import directly. Once you click on this import, you will have the option to import from the media file within your computer, or you can import a complete folder if you want, or you can import from external device. Maybe you have a pen drive or you have an external hard drive that you've attached to your computer. You can as well import your media from there directly, or you can do import with instant cutter tool. You can do that if you have some media saved over there, or you can import with auto beat synchronization, which is a new feature that is introduced by Filmora. If you have your media over there as well, you can do that. And then you have other options to import, like if you have your media saved on Google Drive or on OneDrive or on Dropbox, you can all have access to them directly and import your media and work directly connected with all these platforms. Then you have the search bar. If you have imported all your media, you can search different media accordingly. And then you have record option. Okay, Filmora, like I have said earlier on, gives you the opportunity to record your webcam. You can record directly a video from a webcam if you're positioned it somewhere, or you can record your voice over directly from your mic. Like right now, I'm recording my voice over from my Rode NT USB mic, and then you can record your screen also if you want. You can do all this if you can do the three simultaneously: record your screen, record your camera, and record your voice over also. And if you have imported some media, you can be able to search them accordingly and find out where they are, or you can easily get to them very faster. Down here you have the option to filter your media by different kind of features. You can filter all video or all images or all audio or all .srt files. You can filter accordingly from here, or you can come to these three dots and you can say you can want to view by the list view. You can have the list view or large thumbnail view, or right now the default one is the middle thumbnail view. If you want to have it a large thumbnail view, you can enable that, or small thumbnail view, you can enable all that. Or you can do sorting by name, by duration, by resolution, or by sample rate, or by ascending or descending order according to you. Or you can group them by type, okay, by type, by date created, or by camera name or duration. You can do all that with your footage. So this most important thing is to understand that this is the media bin where you import all your media and store them over here. And then you have the stock media. The stock media is where you have Filmora Go Advanced when it comes to dealing with other platforms. It's interconnected with Pixels, Giphy, Pixabay, Unsplash. All these are platforms that you can download videos and photos as well. They are HD, very good quality that you can easily download and use on your content. And these are royalty-free images and videos that you can use. You can easily use them and reuse within your content. So you can search. For example, I want to search a video on cats. So once you search on cats, you just hit on enter, and you will be able to see a number of videos that have to do with cats. And you can just, all you need is just download them and install. You can see them in different qualities, in 4K, in HD, and many more. Okay, so depending on what you want. And if you're looking for photos as well, you can find a lot of photos that have to do with cats, just like we have just searched. So if you have your, these are mine. Okay, these are mine. These are my downloads. If you have them, you can see them over here, and you can have, this is film stock that is connected with all of these devices. So you can search on Pixels. You can search on Giphy. You can come to Giphy and just go ahead and see multiple stickers, and you can see GIFs also. You can see GIF files also that you can work with very easily and nice. You can just click to download and just add it to your timeline and go ahead with your editing process. And then we have Pixabay. Pixabay also is another platform that is filled with a number of video footage and even photos that you can easily drag and drop or download and import into your editing process. And then you can have it for your content. And all of them are royalty free. Unsplash also is superb when it comes to videos and photos as well. So you can easily check out on all of this and see which of the footage can be relevant to you according to your message, according to your content. So what this means is you don't have to go directly to all of these websites to be able to download content or to be able to download media. You can easily connect it from here, from the platform. You just click, with just a simple click, it will download and it will add it to your timeline, and you can just go ahead and continue with your installation. So we have audio platform. We have a number of audios which we'll talk about in a bit, and then we have different kind of titles. When it comes to text, you can see different kind of titles. You have trending ones and you have new ones. You have transitions when you want to do basic transitions within your platform. Within 2 or more videos, you can apply transitions to have professional look and professional finishing. And then we have effects. Okay, there are a bunch of effects that you can add to your content. These are stickers. You can easily drag and drop, and then you can have it in your content to look much more professional. And we have general templates that you can apply to your videos. Okay, very easily. You have them on different features, on different arrangement, different groups. You have them in games, you have them in sports, you have them in social media, and you have them in travel or thereabout. So it all boils down to you. What do you want? So this is the preliminary or the import, the preliminary tab where you see all of this. And then you have the preview panel. This is the preview panel where you have a preview of whatever you are working on before even it gets to the timeline. So you have the option to play and to stop, or to play, go to the next frame, or next frame forward, or next frame backward, or you can stop, or you can play and see a preview of what you're working on this very platform. And then down here you have the timeline. This big bar is just the timeline where you have all your basic editing and all the playhead movement, as well as the preview of whatever is here on the preview panel. So you have a number of features which I'm going to explain to you once you start importing the media and kickstarting and bringing in very basic things. So the next thing is we'll learn how to import the media into this media bin. So to do that, let me show you how I arrange my media. For example, in this file, you can see this Filmora 12. You can just open it, and you can see I have the sample video that I want to import. Spend some time with yourself. And then we have B-rolls. Now B-rolls is a combination of 2 things. For example, I can have a list of images which I have here, and then I can have videos as well which I have downloaded and imported here. So we have B-rolls as a folder, and then we have a music as a folder also. All the music that I'm going to use are housed here. The B-rolls in terms of images and videos are housed here. So you can arrange your media very easily so that you can have smooth flow during the editing process. So there are three basic ways to import your media. You can drag and drop them over here, just like you have seen, or you can click here to import the media by just clicking directly. You can import the media, navigate to wherever you have it within your system. For example, in my own case, I have it here, and I have it in this Filmora 12. I can select any of them. I can select them and then click on open to open the media. Alternatively, the second method is you can come to the import over here, click on import, and it can take you to the same place. You just select and then you open to import it into the media bin. And the last method is you can come to file over here and just you come to open media. You can open media files. Okay, you can open individual files, or you can open media folder if you want. Okay, and you can connect also from external devices, and you can open medias from all of these different devices that we've highlighted recently. Okay, so you can just go ahead, import your media. In my own case, I would like to import the whole file that I have shown. Okay, let me just import one by one. Just go media file, and I'm going to here. You can import this. I select this and say open. And you can see it has just imported my video. If you want to import the remaining ones, you can just go ahead, import them. Go ahead to import. I want to import this file, this whole folder, B-rolls. I can just select and say open. And you can see it has just imported the whole folder as B-rolls. Okay, you can see it has just imported the whole folder as B-rolls. And then I want to import the image. I want to import the music. You can just go ahead, come back to the same Filmora, and then import music, select music, and then go ahead and import music as a folder. So we have everything imported. Now, the next thing is we can try to preview the video that before we take it into the timeline. And now to take it into the timeline, there are two methods also. You can double click, or you can drag and drop the video just like so into the timeline very easily. You can do that. And you can have the option to check the resolution of the image to match to media or to keep the existing settings. Okay, so you can match the media if you want. I can say match the media, and then it has just imported. So you can see that it has imported the video, showing its thumbnails over here and showing the media or the audio section with the audio profile, the volume profile. You can see it over here at the bottom. So this is the first method to import, and once you import it, you can see the preview of the video within the preview panel. Okay, so you can see we have the thumbnail view, and then the volume profile of the audio section, and then you have the preview panel. Okay, the video shown on the preview panel, where you can move with the playhead, just like this red playhead. You just click and move around, and you can see the preview of what you are working on. So alternatively, let me undo this and try to import again using another method. You can click on this, double click, and it will show the preview of the video on this. And what I want to show you is a very simple way of importing media, and that is utilizing the in point and out point. So you can move around to anywhere you want. For example, I want to import at this point. I can come over here, click on this mark as in, mark in. Okay, mark in. So this is the in point. I can now move to this point and then mark out. This on mark out. So this is mark out. So I can just mark in and out, and this is the location I want to import into the timeline. So to do that, all you need to do is just drag and drop, and it's just going to import the areas that you have just selected as mark in and mark out. So if you want to confirm that, you can just come all the way here. So you can zoom in and out of the timeline, and zoom in, and you can zoom out of the timeline as well, so you can be able to see the entire media that you've imported. Okay, so this is what you have imported, as against the previous method that you import everything. Now this is the first one, zooming in and out from the timeline editing basics. You can see now we can use this to zoom to fit. If you click on this, you're going to zoom everything to fit. Okay, so this is zoom to fit. And then you have this audio mixer. You can enable the audio mixer, so you'll be able to see which track and which audio you want to test. Okay, so by mere playing, you will be able to see the audio profile, and you'll be able to know whether it requires you to edit, to reduce or to increase the sizing. Later I will show you how to do all this in detail in the audio section. But then when you try to play, you will be able to see, so you can be able to see the audio profile, and you'll be able to see this is the master profile, which is the general one. And then this is the video profile. You'll be able to see audio profile. Also, if you have an audio in this section, you'll be able to see the profile. And this is the video section. If you have any, you can just play and you can see the profile. Usually the velocity profile or the volume profile should stay between green and yellow and should not go into the red, because that shows it is speaking. So let's have another trial. Right, so you can see the profile. Okay, so you can use this slider to just move down or go up to increase or decrease the volume accordingly. So let's go back and continue with our basic editing. And over the next tab is if you want to do a voiceover recording. We've shown that you can record your voiceover from here. You can do basic recordings with your voiceover, your screen or your webcam. You can record all that. And if you want to do directly record voiceover, you can just come over here and click on this to record any of your voiceover. Next is we have the add marker tool, which you can use to add marker. If during your editing process you will have a given location that you want to add another detail, for example at this point, and you want to add a coloration and you want to add a text, I want to just click on this to add a marker. You can see I've just added a marker, and you can double click on the marker to be able to put details. So this is mark 1. You can give it another detail, maybe add text. And then you can put other comments as well, and you can change the coloration accordingly. So if you want to delete any marker, you just double click on it, go back to the same feature and just delete the marker directly, just like so. So this is about markers. And the next tab is going to give you render preview. If you want to preview it in a very smaller portion, in a very smaller size and optimized size, you can preview, and then you can see how is your editing moving. And over here you have the silence detection. You can decide to silence a given clip, okay, of your choice. You can decide to silence it, or you can decide to do text to speech or speech to text. You can do all that with Filmora 12. You can do text to speech or speech to text. And then you can come to slide edit. You can click on this to start editing your slide. You can move around across to define specific locations during your editing process. And then if you want to carry out basic editing, this is auto synchronization. If you want to synchronize maybe audios, you can do this. You can do that with this. But the next, one of the most important features that I want to show you is the editing feature, okay, in Filmora, which we are going to show in the near future. So, but this is the basic edit. This is basic edit. Once you click on this, you'll be exposed to different kind of editing profile, including the basic editing in terms of video. You have audio editing, you have color editing, and then you have the speed editing. You can speed your clip by how many percent, or by which number you want, by ×1, by ×2, or ×100. You can see the duration. You can play around with it very easily from here. But for now, let's say at the video tab, you'll be able to do different kind of transform. You can play around with different kind of keyframes. Later I will show you in detail how to add keyframes and how to flip videos. You can flip your video, you can rotate around an axis, and you can do generally very many things, like the playing with the opacity, and you can drop shadow. You can enhance the do auto enhancement if you want with the above. And you can check out other features as well, like the mask feature. You can check them out, the AI tools and the animation tools. You can play around with all this if you want. Right, so this is on the video tab. You can check on the audio tab as well. You have a number of controls that you can work with. For example, you have the volume control, you can have the sound balance control. You can check on different kind of fade in and fade out. You can enable all that from here. The auto dockling, the equalizer, the denoising, you can do all that from here. Maybe later I will show you how to play around with the reverb in cases when you have an audio that have a lot of reverb or a lot of echo in it. You can do reverb, or you can reduce the echo with the reverb function over here. Then you have color. You have later I will talk about color in details, but then this is just to expose you to different kind of editing features from your timeline. Okay, so next is we have the keyframes. You can click on this, select the media clip, and you can click to add keyframes. Later I will show you in detail how to add keyframes on videos and on audios and even on coloration. Okay, so next we have the
you have the AI matching tool. You can play around with all this. You can play around with the duration. You can extend or reduce the duration of your media on your own, or you can color match to a given clip if you have, and then you can speed the clip. Okay, you can click to speed a clip by, you can slow it by this much, you can fasten it by this much, you can go back to normal, and you can do freeze frame, or you can reverse a particular clip. The next control or the next feature is the crop tool. Okay, once you click on this, you can do some basic cropping. For example, you can change the aspect ratio also if you want. Right now it's at 1920 by 1080, which is the default. You have a number of other defaults as well that we've explained at the beginning of the tutorial. The 4:3, the 1:1, the 9:16, and 21:9. Or you can do custom sizing as well if you want. Or on your own, you can come to the cropping section. Make sure you're at the cropping section, and then you can move over to the edge of the video. You can hover over it until your cursor turns into something like this, and you can click and drag around to resize it to any function or to any defined size of your choice. You see we are resizing it, and once you release, you're going to see that the video is going to be resized to that particular place. Okay, so you can play to see you have resized it to that particular place. Okay, so feel free to give it a try. Feel free to see what you can do. You can also play around with it manually. You can type the dimension that you want to have, or you can reset everything and everything goes back to normal, which is what I want. And you can play around with the pan and zoom feature in cases you want to play with that. Next is we have the text tool. We have the quick text. This is quick text, and in quick text you have two options. You have subtitles. You can insert subtitles, and you can insert quick 3D text if you want. Okay, so you can insert subtitles, and you can add this quick 3D depending on your choice. And then we have the quick split mode. The quick split mode is very important, and it can help you to edit faster in your timeline during your video editing process. Once you click on letter C, it's going to enable the quick split mode on your keyboard. Just hit on the letter C, and you can see the quick split mode. And what it does is it splits the clip at whatever point you have put the dashed line and click. For example, I click here and I click on this, and you can see it has split my clip into two. Later I will show you how to do this in detail during the editing process. You can see I can split multiple with just a simple click of this control. Okay, so and if you want to go back to the normal mode, you can just letter V to go back to the normal mode. Next we have, you can select a click, and you can have the audio stretch. You can stretch your audio by any amount of time, and then you can do the splitting with the split button, split tab over here, or you can do Command B on Mac or Control B on Windows to be able to split your clip into two. For example, this clip, I may want to split it at this point. I can just hit on Command B, or I can just go ahead, select it. Let me undo this. Go ahead, select the clip, and then come over here and click on split, and it's going to split it into two, just like so. Okay, and then you can delete, you can undo, and you can check on the gallery where you have the toolbar. You can check on the toolbar where you have all the basic editing tabs or features. You can easily drag and drop. You can just drag it and drop it across this very timeline, so you can be able to have quick access. You can check, you can have quick text. If you don't want any of them, you can just drag it back, and you can always save to make sure you have saved everything. And you can reset to back to default in cases when you want to reset and you want the default features to appear on the timeline to be visible. If you want to hide any, you can hide. So let me cancel on this, and then we can come back to the editing process.
Alright, so the next thing is we'll learn how to add B-rolls into the timeline. We can bring in B-rolls and we can import them into the timeline to make our work look much more better and professional. So let's start by the importing. I've shown you how to import B-rolls. I've imported them. You can see them in folders. Okay, I've imported my all of B-rolls. You can just go ahead, click on them, and you can see we have images and videos. So let's start with image. You can just double click. We can see the image just like so. We can see a preview of it. You can do the same thing, but you can do the same as to mark the in and out point. For now, since we don't have this an image, you can easily drag and drop it. You can just drag and drop, and then you define the location or how long do you want it to stay on the timeline. So you can see we can just move from here into the image while I explain the voiceover at the background, and then back to the main video when I start talking. So we can just zoom out in the zoom to fit. Okay, so we'll be able to see how much the video, the location, you can move it across. Okay, as you so wish, wherever you want to put it. And you can easily extend the image to be able to fill up the areas that you need, and you can move the timeline across it and see what you can do. By selecting the clip, you'll be able to do any other thing you want. For example, you can come all the way over here, click on the editing feature, and you can be able to play around with the scaling. You can scale it up or down in the X and Y axis if you want. You can do all that from here. So you can just go ahead, scale it up in the X axis, and because they are connected, you can you are scaling it up directly together, and you can move the position, you can move it sideways, or you can move it bottom or top. So you just make sure you get it right. So this is once you're done, you click on OK. Maybe I want it like this, and I want it at this point defined like this. Okay, so next, maybe I can add this one over here. I can just drag and drop it over here and make it smaller a bit, because maybe I want it to cover just like this place. You can move you can see after me talking, then this beautiful face comes in, and then you can see it stays on the track till the end, and then it moves back and I continue to talk. So this is how to add images as b-rolls. Okay, they just take over the position of the video, and then it stays for some time, and then come back to the main video. So let's try to add video as b-roll into this very timeline. We can go back, and then we can come to videos, and we do the same thing. We can just drag and drop the video clip. You can see how much length it is, okay, how much long it is. You can easily bring in your timeline, and you have a preview of what is happening. So if you want it to start at this point, you can just select it, create a cut with the letter C. You can just hit on letter C, create a cut here, and maybe create another cut here, and maybe back to the normal mouse pointer, and then you can click to delete this point, and maybe delete this point, and this is where I want to appear on my clip. So while I'm explaining, this comes in, and they quickly run, and then back to where I'm going to continue with my explanation. So the same thing happens if you want to do some basic editings as well. You can select the clip and come to this editing tab, and you'll have access to all that you want. If you want to play around with the scaling option or the position option, or you want to flip around in the left, right, or across any axis, you can easily do that. Or you're going to play around with the basic composition, you can also do that. Opacity, you can drop shadow, and do many more things from here. So this is how to bring in this one. You can go back to the main tab, and we can bring in the second one over here, and I want it maybe somewhere around here, not reaching the end. But then let me bring my timeline to it. I want it to have this explanation up to this point when she becomes so happy. Here, I create a cut. It's just a cut from here, and maybe at this point. So back to normal mouse pointer. Delete this, and I have my video to arrange at this point. So you can just
ask
play.
Myself series of.
Okay, so you can see this is basically how to bring in b-rolls into the timeline and do some basic editing, and to make your work appear much more professional. While you explain, you have some images to show, or some videos to show, to add meaning, to add more value into your video. Now the next thing is we'll learn how to add audio into the timeline, and continue with our basic editing and make our video look very, very professional and nice. Now to add a video, we can come back to the main media bin over here. We have imported some music. You can easily use that, or you can use the existing music within the Filmora tool. Let's say at this point I would like to use this music that I have imported on my own. Okay, so you can just select, drag and drop it into the music timeline over here. Okay, you can see it clearly defined with all the velocity, the volume profile. You can see it over here. So you can select and do some basic editing. You can select zoom out. Okay, so you can see it has extended the video in some ways. So let's kind of make it zoom to fit, and we can be able to either come to the edge and drag and make it snap to the end. So we have our audio equal to the video length, or we can alternatively select, press on the letter C to enable the quick cut tool, and then you can the razor blade tool, and then you can go ahead and click to cut, and then back to the normal mode with the letter V, and then select the excess clip or excess video and delete it. Now one thing you should pay attention to is the volume. Okay, when you are importing a media or you are importing an audio, the volume used to be very loud, especially the background volume, and we don't want it to be very loud because this is background. We want to We want people to hear what I'm saying. The background music is just to keep them engaged and to keep them entertained through the process. So what you need to do is to learn to edit to reduce the volume. So you can do that with two ways. It's the first way is you can just come all the way to the top. Over here you can see this horizontal line that cut across the clip. You can select it and just come all the way, hover over it. You can see my cursor is changing to this. You can move down or up the volume level accordingly. You can move it down to 0 or to negative 59 decibels and you'll not be able to hear anything, or you can move it up just like so, or you can increase the volume if you want, just like so. This is one method. Okay, the second method is to enable the audio mixer. You can just click to enable the audio mixer, because right now the audio we are dealing with is audio 1 over here. Okay, so you can see it over here. And if you want to reduce the volume, you can come all the way here, reduce the volume of that particular audio. You can bring it down a little bit, okay, and then you can say okay, and this will bring this audio down. Another thing I want to show you when it comes to audio editing or audio volume reduction is we can do what we call the fade in, fade out from the clip right now that we are seeing over here. So to do a fade in, fade out, select the audio clip. You can come to the edge of it and you can see this small dot that appears at both ends of the clip. Appears here and it appears there as well. What you need to do is come to the edge of it over here until your cursor turns into something like this. You can just select, click and drag. You can see it is fading in, okay, it is fading out up to this point. So what it means is at this point it will start fading out until it gets to the end. Okay, so the sound is going to fade out until it gets to the end. So let me zoom to fit and do the same at the other edge. You can just navigate. As you hover over the edge, you will see the dot also at the top over here. So you can come all the way to it until your cursor turns into something like this, and then you can select and move across. You can see you are fading in also the music. Okay, so what it means is the music will start at 0 and it will rise, keep rising until it gets to 100% at this point. So fading in and fading out makes your video look and sound much more professional, because it will move gradually and it will peak at the needed point. Alternative way to do that is select the clip and come to the editing tab over here. You can edit this very audio and you can see you can create the fade in and fade out, and you can see it on the timeline over here. You can create that fade in and fade out, or fade in, and then you can create the fade out as well on the other edge, which you can see from here. You can create the fading out of the image very nicely. Okay, so fade in, fade out, you can create all that from here. And you can play around with the volume effect. You can increase or decrease the volume from here as well. You can check around and do a lot of editing in terms of the pitch effect. You can reduce the pitching or increase the pitching accordingly. You can put some denoising and other AI features if you so wish. And you have normal denoise, the reverb. If you have some echo in the sound like I've explained earlier, you can be able to reduce it from here. You can reduce the reverb or you can increase accordingly. So even though in some cases you have to be able to be very careful with the reverb, because it's going to affect the quality of the audio. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is how to insert keyframes into your volume to hype it or reduce it. So assuming on this very clip, on this very video clip, I want to increase or decrease the volume at this point from here to here. Maybe I want to increase or decrease, but I don't want the other sections to be affected. So all I need to do is select the clip and then come over here and come to this keyframe, click to add keyframes, and I will make sure I'm on the audio section over here. So you can come all the way. I want to add a keyframe on the audio section or on the volume section. So you can come all the way to the volume section, click on add a keyframe. You can move a little bit further and then add another keyframe. Okay, so you can move again up to this point. I want to reduce the volume to this point, so you can come to this point, add another keyframe and move away a little bit also, and then add another keyframe. So what this means is it has given us the control and the capability to reduce or increase the volume at this point, okay, using these very keyframes. So you can select it, select this horizontal line and then drag down to reduce the volume. As you can see, it has reduced it from the look of the profile, and we can select it and go up also if you want to increase the volume, or you want to decrease those beneath it. You can reduce just like so, and those after it you can reduce just like so, and you have that particular section increased. Okay, and you can increase the fading in and out from here. using the keyframes, you can move them around, move them further, or you bring them closer as you so wish. So this is how to basically add keyframes, and you can add it in different features with different features. And at any given point, if you want to remove or you want to bring back the volume control to its normal mode or its normal place, you can always hit the undo button or the reset button over here. It will take you back to where you started. And if you are done, you can click on the reset button, you can reset, and you can see everything is back to normal. And you can click on OK to accept all the changes that you've made. So this is how to bring in audio and how to do some basic editing in audio clip as well. Okay, so another thing you can do is you can utilize the audio of the Filmora 12. To utilize the audio, you can come all the way to the audio tab over here, and you can see a number of audios. These are royalty-free audio. You can just click to have a preview of them, and if you are certain with any, you can easily drag and drop it into the timeline. You can just download it, drag and drop it into the timeline. So you have different classification. They have include young and bright, tender and sensitive, and you have folk and electronic and sound effects. You can have different kind of sound effects. All you need to do is just to preview the atomic bomb, the camera snaps. You can have cinematic horn, you can have chickens, you have car horn, you can have beep, and depending on your own travel and vlog, you can have beat music. You can just select on any of them. You can play to have a preview. If you want to have, you can check on music as well and have different kind of music that you may have within your track. Okay, these are music within my own computer. If you have any, you can see them over here and you can easily drag and drop. But then I prefer to use their own because they are royalty free. You can even click to have a preview. And once you are done, you can start it or you can download and add it to your timeline very, very nicely. So let's go back to young and bright. And then let's say I particularly like this one. Okay, so you can click to download. So let's check the one that's a bit less in timing. You can click to download this one and it will just download it for you very nicely and quickly. Okay, so you can see once you download, you can press on this plot sign to add it into the timeline. Once you have defined the location you want it, it will just be added automatically. Or you can start it also and you can have it at the start features. Okay, you can have it at the start features. You can click to add and you can see you've added the music. You can zoom to fit so you can be able to see it clearly. So you can see it has added. You can just click and have it. And you can come to the edge also and do the same thing. You can drag to fit into the other media. So you can have everything fit to content. And you can see you have now added another media, which is the music. You can play around, you can play it to have a preview of it. So these are the default. You can come to film stock. There are a number of them also over here. Different ones. You have trending ones, you have new ones. You can check around just to have a preview. You can have another one over here. All you need is just to click on the plus sign, or you can download it and just add it into the timeline. So it's very pretty interesting. And if you want to use the ones that you have on your own, you can come back to the media bin and you can add directly as we have explained in this tutorial. So I think that does it for this tutorial on how to bring in music and do some basic editing within Filmora 12. Alright, so the next thing is we'll learn how to add titles and text into our video clip. So for example, assuming I have this video clip and I'm working on it, I want to bring in some text to make it look and appear professional. All I need to do is to come to the titles over here. You can come to the titles and you have a number of titles. You can check on the defaults. You have different kind of titles. You can have your title over here, and as you hover over it, you'll be able to see what the title does and what it is, and you'll be able to download. If you are looking for an opener, you can see an opener title. This opener title as well. This opener title, you can see a number of them, title 11, title 10. You can see different kind of titles. You can easily select and drag and drop a title, and these are the very default ones. So let's just work with the default one a little bit. So let's say we have this one. I want this opener title to just drag and drop it here. So assuming I select my entire clip, excluding this one, and I move them away. So I have only my opener title, so you can just select and then you can double click on it to have the features or the properties enabled. You can see the different kind of components of the title. Okay, you have text here. You can select, double click inside, and you can highlight everything and you say welcome to my channel. You can select and reduce the sizing. You have a bunch of controls like the sizing. You have, this is 80, you can make it 50. All right, you can see can have it maybe 50 is too small. I can increase it to maybe 60 would be good. 60. All right, then we have the title over here, your text over here. So for example, I may want to put something like Epic Mentorship. Okay, so you can see you can do all the basic editing from here. So you have the bunch of controls, like you can have basic control in terms of you can change the different kind of font style. You can see as you hover over any font style, you can see the preview on the preview panel. You can see you can change anything. You can change the sizing over here. You can change the sizing accordingly. You can bold anything. You can italize anything. You can change it to vertical. You can change the vertical if you want. You can change the right to vertical, or you can click to bring it back to horizontal. You can bold it. You can italize it. You can do justification. You can justify normal justify. You can justify align left, align right, align center. You can all do this from here, and you can change the coloration from here as well. You have a bunch of controls. You can come to more also and see more other control in terms of color features. You can enable, and you can move around and see what color fits in your content, to be able to select exactly the color that works for you or works with your brand. You can easily select that, and once you release, you can see it has taken that effect and that color. Now, for example, at this point, you can double click to select everything, and I don't want it to be italicized. I want it to appear normal, and maybe there are other presets as well down here. You can check on any of them, and you can just assign it to yours. You can just click on this small arrow to see many more features. You can select on these, for example. And once you click out, you'll be able to see welcome to my channel. So this is the basic one and the default ones. You can customize them to your liking accordingly. Play around with the coloration, play around with the basic editing features in terms of text. Okay, welcome to my channel, Epic Mentorship. Please remember to subscribe. Something like that. And once you're done, you're comfortable with what you have, and you can just go ahead and click on OK to select and accept all the changes you have made. Or you can go to advanced and do other features as well. So you can come to advanced. Once you click on advanced, this brings you to the main advanced tab, where you can do many more advanced things. So for example, you can have the text editing features over here. You can add text box and do other things. You can bring in different kind of shapes. If you want to bring in shapes into the timeline, you can bring in circles, or you can add text within the circle, or you can delete the text if you want, depending. You can resize it, you can make it bigger or make it smaller depending on what you want and what content you're creating. You can also add photos within your computer. You can just go ahead, download, or you can navigate to wherever you have those photos, and you can just go ahead, select a photo and import directly into the media. Okay, so you can see it. You can decide to make it smaller so you can fit to whatever you want. For example, I want it to fit something like this, a 20-second rule, which is a video I made recently in animation. So you can delete a feature. You can play around with the other features like the font style, the font size. You can do the bolding, italicizing, and all the other features from here. You can check out the presets. There are a lot of presets that you can work with here, and you can see in terms of the opacity, gradient, the coloration, the features, and the text. Also, you have access to it directly from here. You can check out presets like we've explained, or all the preset features. You can see them over here. And by selecting, you just apply the features directly, or you can customize, just like we've explained. You can play around with the opacity, the coloration, the position of the text, the blur effect, and the angle of the text. And down here, you have other features like the outline features. You can play around with different outline and the coloration. You can drop shadow if you want, and then you can save this as a custom setting. If you do all the basic editing and you're certain you like what you see and you like what you are working with, you can always save it as a preset. Okay, so just click, and you can have my text one, or you can make it my text _ Rashid. You can just click on this and you can save. And anytime you want to bring back something like that, you can just go ahead with the preset. You can just import without you doing all this again, doing all the changing of the text sizing, the text font style, and the coloration, drop shadow effect. You don't have to redo all this at the next time. So you just use it from your preset. And then you have animations. There are a bunch of animations which I will show you how to use, and you can add them directly into the text. You can just hover over and you'll be able to see the features. Okay, you can just hover over and you see the features, and once you click on this, it's going to be applied into your text, and you can see it right now. It's been applied. You have string blur, you can see, and you have this other one, and this is random. You can select and you can have your text appear in random features. And once you're done, you're starting with what you have, you are comfortable with what you see and everything, you can just go ahead and click on OK, and this feature becomes part of your text that you've just added. This is how to bring in text and do basic editing and even do advanced editing in the Filmora 12. If you want to add any kind of subtitles, like I've explained earlier, you can come to this letter T. You have subtitles and you have quick 3D text if you want to have access to all that. And additionally, you come to text. Let's go back to text. I want to show you something. So you can go ahead and check out the custom text, and you can the ones that you've customized. You can have openers. You can have titles. If you want, you can check on titles. They are classified into lower thirds. If you want to add lower thirds, you want to have subtitles also, like you've just explained. We have end credits. You want to give end credits to any movie. You can see, add names of all the people that are featured in the movie. You can do all this. You have new concepts. Okay, if you want to add new concepts, you can bring in different kind of concepts. All you need is just to navigate around, download that feature, and then just import it into your timeline, and then continue with your editing. And believe you me, they're exceptionally great and useful and nice, and they can make your video appear very, very professional. So give it a try. Alright, so the next thing that I want to show us is how to add transitions into the timeline to connect between two clips, or between an A roll and a B roll, or between text. You can do all that, even within images or a video, or within a particular video. You can do all that from here using in this Filmora 12. So all you need to do is to go ahead and select a particular clip, a particular position where you want to add a transition. For example, I may want to add a transition between here and this video, okay, the main A roll and this B roll. I want to add a transition. So all you need to do is to make sure you select that particular section, and you can come all the way to transitions over here. So you can see transitions. There are a bunch of transitions that we have in Filmora 12. You can just check. You have trending ones. You can go ahead with the default. You can check on the default, and you have different kind of transitions. You have basic transitions, and you have 3D transitions, triple dissolve transitions, speed blur, you have warp, you have lifestyle, you have slideshow and linear, and many, many more. You can just go ahead and explore. And as you hover over any of them, you'll be able to see a preview of what it does in your video. So you can check on the film stock also. You can check on them, and you can see a number of transition effects that you can easily add into your video. I used to use this cross dissolve or dissolve transition very, very nicely, and you can add that into your timeline. So select any of the transition. As you hover over, like I've explained, you'll be able to see what kind of transition it is and what effect it's going to have on your video. Okay, so let's say we want to give a try on this dissolve feature. You can just click and drag it and drop it into the timeline. You can see we have added it into the timeline. You can see how long it is. The transition is going to be this much long. So you can see it dissolves in. Okay, it just dissolves into as the girls are coming in. You can see it dissolves in. Okay, but the period of the dissolution is quite long, so we can make it smaller. We can shorten it by selecting on the transition, come to the edge, and you can just shorten it here, or you can lengthen it accordingly. But let's say we shorten it to this point, so the transition is going to be a bit faster. So you can just go ahead and play it. You can see the movement, the transition. Okay, it's now faster. So let's try to play it and see. You see, very fast. So this is how to add transition. If you want to add an exit transition also, you can just select, drag it, and just add it also at the exit point. So it can use the same transition effects, maybe to dissolve out and then back to the main transition. Okay, so you can see it dissolves back. So very easily, you can just add any transition of your choice. Okay, so to move across the videos. So you can do the same on this image as well. As you move, not just to cut directly into it, you can select a given transition feature or transition effect from the new ones. Okay, let's just go ahead and select from the new ones. You can see camera transitions. You can check on any one of your choice. Okay, so these are brand new ones, but let's say I may be looking at the default ones. Okay, so let's say we have this box tone. Okay, so let's use this box tone and just add it into the timeline. Okay, so you can just select, drag it, and drop it here. Let's wait for it. Yeah, it's there, so you can just play. So you can see the transition. You can select it and shorten it so it transits a bit faster. So let's play it one more time. You can see it moves pretty fast. So you can use anyone, you can use any of the transition effects based on 3D, basic, speed, blur, or any other one. You can just go ahead, select from any of them, and just drag and drop. And you can have the control of the transition also by selecting it. You can come all the way here and you have other control features, or by double clicking on any transition effect, you will have its features shown over here. You can apply different things and you can do multiple things with it. So another thing I used to do when it comes to transiting within the same clip, for example, while I'm explaining this in the same video, and maybe I want to create a transition point. If it is within the same clip and within the same video, what I usually do, I usually just create a cut by hitting a letter C, create a cut here, and what I do is I kind of zoom in on one of the clips. Okay, so it just stay together, but then one of them is zoomed in a little bit, so to just look much more professional. So let me go back to the main control and select this particular clip. Come over here and just select it, and you can come all the way to edit feature over here, and then you can come all the way here and you can zoom in and you can zoom it. Okay, you can play around with, you can go back to the video control, and then you can come to the scaling over here. So you just scale up. Okay, you can just scale it up. One thing you should just pay attention to is you have to make sure that the eyes are almost at the same point. Okay, so you can just bring this one down a little bit. So let's move backward, and then you can see it just quickly moves to something bigger. Okay, from here to here, and you can see it create a simple keyframe. Okay, so I think this one kind of makes it appear much more professional. So I don't have to add any basic transition across, but I just create the zoom in, and then when I get to where I want, I can now zoom out or zoom it back to the normal one. So let's click on letter C and create another cut here, and then on this point from this one, I can just go back to the normal. Okay, letter V, I'm now back, so I can just go ahead and select this, come back to the same editing tool, and I can now undo this to take it back to the normal one. Okay, so reset it and get it back to the normal one. So you can see the transition from here, explain, and then go back here, come down to this, and then I go back to gradually to where I come from. So this is basically how to add transitions into your timeline and do some basic editings with it and make your videos appear and look much more professional. You can put the same transition at the end also if you want to start, and when you want to finish, you can attach it to the same to text also if you will have some text and you want to add the transitions on them as well. So the next thing I want to show you is how to add coloration into your timeline, into the video clip that you're working on. You can add different kind of colors into it to make it look better and look professional. Okay, so all you need to do is to select the clip that you're working on and come to edit over here. Just click on the edit, and over here you have color. Okay, so you can see color at the main tab. So you click on color and you have some presets. Okay, so you can click on this small arrow to see all the other presets. You can just click, and with just a simple click, it's going to take in that particular set or that particular coloration effect or that preset effect. With just one click, you can see I have just enabled everything. So you're free to go ahead and give it a try. And in my own case, I may want to take it back to none because I usually like to play around with the coloration on my own. So you can just come down. The first thing I used to do is to do white balance. Okay, check on the white balance, and I use the color picker. You can just click on this and then show a place that is perfectly white within the video, so everything is going to be adjusted according to that color. So let's say at this point, this is my shirt, at this point is pure white. I click, you can see the adjustment. Okay, so it gives us that professional little adjustment to the video. So this might be very small, but it's very visible when you check on the before and after. Okay, so you can check out on the temperature. Sometimes I play around with the temperature. You can go a bit hotter or you can go back to colder. I think I like it a bit colder, a little bit at this point. You can check out on the tint, which I don't touch most of the time. You can come down to the color. And what I play around with here is mostly the exposure. I increase the exposure a little bit depending. If I have too much of exposure, it's going to show. So a little bit of an exposure, and then give it some contrast, because right now the brightness I think is okay. The contrast is good. The brightness is okay. If you want to increase, you can increase a little bit, but if this is too bright, you can bring it down a little bit, okay, to something like this. So vibrance you can play around with, but I don't usually touch on vibrance because I'm always okay with what I have. But in cases when you want to increase the vibrance, so you can go ahead and play around with it. You can have saturation. Saturation also tells us about how much color you should it's in the video clip, or you can increase or decrease it. You can see saturation. You can select and increase the saturation just like so to increase more color into it, or you can make it you can reduce it up to black and white, nearly black and white. Okay, but I usually don't touch much on the saturation. So you can see my clip is quite okay at this point, but you can go ahead and play around with any of the feature that you want. You can always undo, or you can undo from the global perspective. You can change anything, and you can come down here. You're free to play around with the other features like shadow, highlights, white balance, and blacks. You can play around with vignettes and color match also from here. You can do all that. And at any given point, if you're certain, if you want to reset, you can come back and reset. You can go to HSL, okay, and play around with the hue, the saturation, and the luminance of the image. Okay, you can go ahead and play around with it using the keyframes, or you can just manually on your own play around with the hue and play around with the saturation and the luminance. You can play around with all this, and if you are not certain, you can always go back to the normal preset, or we can reset everything. And you have the color codes. You can go ahead, just like in Adobe Premiere Pro, you have the color codes. You can play around with the white color, the red color, the blue color, the green color, and the blue color. You can just go ahead, depending, you can just play around, create different kind of points and try to move them around. When you move up, you can see the effect is going to give to your image. You come down, you can see you are blacking it, you are bringing the shadows, the blacks, and you can just nearly just stay at the middle, and you can move it across. Usually an S shape is good, especially when you are with the whites. Okay, an S shape is good. Just create 2 points and you create a little bit of an S shape. Just bring down this a little bit and you have something like this. Okay, you can just bring this up a little bit, and the blacks are now black. Okay, the whites are now white. Okay, so you can see very easily. You can always go back to the preset, and if you are certain with all that you have created, or if you like this setting of all the coloration, you can also go ahead and save it as a preset. You can see my color preset 1. You can save it as my color preset 1. Just click on OK. So and the next time you come on, you want to do this basic coloration, or you bring in a new footage, you don't have to do all this. You can just go ahead and import from the preset and just apply it directly into your video clip. Okay, so the next thing is I want to show you some extras if you want to add some very basic things into your timeline. For example, if you want to add some stock media, I've explained how you can use stock media. You can add music, you can add images and videos from Pixels, from Giphy, from Pixabay, from Unsplash. You can apply all this, you can add all this from here, and you can search. That's the good part of it. You can search from here and you can add anything directly into the timeline from most of these platforms. Okay, they have been integrated to Filmora. You can now easily, you don't have to go to Pixels, or don't have to go to Pixabay website to search for anything, to start downloading, to start dragging and dropping, uploading into the software, and then you can start using it in your timeline. You can do that directly by just going up here and just searching. Maybe when you are on Pixels, you can just go ahead and search things on Pixels, and it's going to just give you directly as it is on Pixels once you are connected to the internet. So next we can have how to add different media. So you can just select, for example, you can select and say I want to add maybe something like a happy child. You want to add something like a happy child on Pixels, something like that. You can see something like this. Okay, so let's say we are taking something like this. We can just easily drag it, download it, and drag it and drop it into the timeline. Okay, so let's wait for it to be downloaded. You can see it has downloaded it. You can specify the in and out points if you are certain with what you have. You just want to have a happy child, you just easily drag and drop it. Okay, but this is not where I want it to be featured. Let me zoom to fit. Let's say I want it at the end of this clip. I want it to appear at the end of this clip. I can just click and come to the plus sign to add it. And you can see we've just added it. And if you want it to appear as a B-roll also, you can move it around. Maybe I want at this point, so you can create a cut here and probably here and back to the normal. Click on delete and click on this one also and delete. And then you can do still zoom to fit. You can move these around to somewhere like this, and you can see we've added another track to it. So you can just bring your timeline and try to play it, and you can see the transition as well. So this is how to bring in stock media from the different platforms using Filmora. So you can also add different kind of effects. There are different kind of effects that you can bring in. Just make sure you just navigate around. You can have video effects, you have trending effects, you can come to the default. You can have audio effects, you can have Boris functions and new blue functions and thereabout. You can come back to the default as well, and you have the access and the opportunity to be able to add different kind of effects. You have filters, we have overlays, you have utilities, depending whatever effect you want to add to your video. But with just a simple click, everything is going to be there on that particular track that you've selected. So you just, let's say with this one, you can just click to download this effect, and you can see it has just added that very effect on our video clip. So this is very easy and interesting. And then we have stickers. If you want to bring in stickers to bring in more creativity into your work, you can bring in different kind of stickers. So we have the default stickers, which you can have access by just coming to the default. You have different kind of default stickers. You can just move around. All you need is just to click to download and just insert it into the video clip. So like we can just select on any just to download something simple. This is a badge. You can just select, download it, and you can just add it into, you can see the preview of it. If you like it, you can just easily drag and drop it into the timeline just like so. And you can move your playhead so you'll be able to see exactly, or assuming you want to say this is on sale now, you can just go ahead and you have it as a badge. So the next thing is you can check on different kind of badges. You can have love badges, you can have journey badges, you can have shapes. They are pretty much classified into different kind of forms. We have badges, we have tutorials. You can just select. We have pets. You can see most of them. Okay, a lot of them, quite a lot of them. We have game features, we have fun features. Depending whatever you want, social media, you can just select on any, like and subscribe. You can have all these. You can check on film stock also. They have a number of other presets that you can use in terms of stickers. You have a number of them like the like and dislike, and you have subscribe buttons, and all these features you have them around. You have the trending ones and you have the new ones if you want to check around. So you can just go ahead and check. If you have any that you like, and you can easily download and insert into your clip. One last thing that I want to show you on the extras is the templates. You can come to the templates, and there are a bunch of templates that you can work with at any given point. You are just here, you can just come all the way. You can go to the split screen mode, or you can just stay at the template. You can see these are mine, and these are templates. Okay, they are game templates. There are sports templates. You can just click, and with one click, all the different features that are contained in these templates will be transferred and inserted into your video clip, just like we've explained. Okay, so very easily you can use templates. You don't have to customize anything, and everything is going to be inserted into your clip just like so. So down here you have the preview quality. You can check the quality here and display settings. You can click and you can see the zoom level, the safe zones. You can check, you can see to fit, you can reduce it by this much amount, and then you have the camera features over here. You can take snapshot from here, and you can play around with the volume also from here. You can increase or decrease the volume, and you can fit this to screen. So everything is now back to fit to screen, and you can come back to the main editing feature or the main platform. So I think this does it for this. That does it for the extras that I want to show you on some of the key features that you can also play around with. So the last thing that I want to show you in this Filmora 12 tutorial is how to export your video in different formats. Assuming you have, you are certain with what you have, you've inserted all the text, you've done all the basic editings, you've inserted all the B-rolls, and you've done all the audio and volume control, volume changing and increasing and decreasing of different kind of effects, stickers. You've inserted all the coloration, and you are certain and comfortable with what you have. You pretty much like what you see, and you want to export this into a full-fledged video. You can do that also from Filmora 12. Okay, so to export a given video, once you you have everything intact, you can just come all the way to the top right over here and say export, and click on export, and this brings us to the main export panel where you have the different format. The default is the MOV format, which you have over here. So the resolution is usually 1920 by 1080, but you can check it and put in other resolutions if you want. And you can check out the presets. You can check on presets, you can do custom settings, and you can check out the output. Where do you want it to save to? So check the location on your computer. For example, in my own case, I want it to save here, or you can check on others and you can navigate around to show exactly where you want it to save. For example, in my own case, I want it to save on Filmora 12, and just select here. You can say it's going to save on this, and the name of the video, you can give it a name. Remember, we didn't give the video a name as we started, so you can say my video tutorial on Filmora 12. So you can just go ahead. The frame rate you can change also, but I usually leave it at default, which is 30 frame rate per second. You can change it to any of your choice, okay? And you can upload to cloud. In cases if you have logged in, you can just go ahead. But in cases if you don't want to export in MP4, in Move you can export in MP4 using the same feature. You can just select the format. You can go ahead, select with MP4 HEVC, but you can have MPEG to AV1 MP4. But the best one that I like also is just to go ahead and export in MP4. Yeah, MP4, which is the best. So just go ahead, specify the output description and resolution, and devices you want to import for iPhone or Galaxy or Smart TV or anyone. You can see, you can check also from here. You can check if it is YouTube. You can sign into your YouTube account, and this video is going to be exported into your YouTube account. Or if it is a TikTok account, you can export also the video directly into TikTok or Vimeo or DVD. You can do all that from here. So it all boils down to you. But in my own case, I want to export it on my local drive, and I want it to be MP4 with this much output description. Okay. So once you're starting, you can see an estimated size of the video, okay, and the duration. And you can enable hardware acceleration for video encoding if you want. Make it faster and make it lightweight and very much easy to export. So once you're setting with everything that you've set, so you can just go ahead and export your video and play it for your content. Okay, so thank you very much for watching the tutorial. This is very basic for beginners on how to use Wondershare Filmora 12. I hope you enjoyed the entire video. If you do, please remember to give it a thumbs up. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.